Hello, everyone. It's time to go over my one sentence summary for each NFL game this past weekend. So let's get started. Let's start with the Thursday night football game, Packers versus 49ers. My one sentence is bad Thursday night football game. I know going into the season, you put teams on prime time you think are going to be good, or a match that they think is going to produce a good game, but everyone knows it's going to be a blowout. And the football fans, that was a tough one to watch, in my opinion. So for future ref, I feel like when you set up a TV date and time, it should be tentative, and then if stuff changes, like all of a sudden 49ers get too many injuries and they're not going to be good, it's like, okay, let's switch up this matchup for Thursday Night Football game instead, type of thing. Um, I feel like that should happen. But we'll see if that happens in the future, but I doubt it. Broncos versus Falcons. Maybe it just takes a while. Falcons last year go 1-7, and they finished. Like it was, at that point they were like it's close to finding the coach and stuff, and then they flipped the switch and now and they finished 7-9. They started off 0-4 or 5, whatever. Fired Dan Quinn, the GM, and then bam, started after the Detroit mess up, started winning again. So if it weren't for a few plays, we'd be talking about this team making the playoffs. Believe it or not, think about that. Seahawks versus Bills needed more help at the trading deadline. I thought if Seattle could pull off another trade or two out the D line, but it would help. But obviously Dunlap was all they got from the trade deadline, and even with Jamal Adams back, this is not enough. I mean, also the offensive line played well as well, but and also traveling and playing a new game doesn't help for Seattle as well. But in my opinion, what this game kind of showed me is Seattle, they kind of really need to be a number one seed for the playoffs if they want to go to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Bears versus Titans. Wasted defense. The Bears have a championship level defense, but their offense, specifically the O-line, is so horrible that they can't score enough points. The offense the offense needs to not be a problem, obviously, because in today's game it's more about offense and defense, probably. It's just college football, and even you can see here in the NFL, offense wins your games more. So I'm not sure. So the Bears, in my opinion, actually might not make the playoffs. I still have to make my projections, but it looks like Bears might not even make the playoffs anymore. Like, that's how bad they've been looking. Ravens versus Colts finally came from behind. So the first half was bad for Lamar, obviously, as expected, against a good Colts defense. But then he flipped the script and was able to get the W. So hopefully for Lamar, this becomes like a stepping stool for him, and it helps him in big, important, or playoff game type of moments later on. Panthers versus Chiefs. Panthers are good about being sneaky. I said Panthers could potentially get a wild card spot at the beginning of the season, and now with McCaffrey back from injury, they looked unstoppable offense. They looked really good. It might be a little too late for a playoff spot, but expect them to upset a few teams along the way this season. Lions versus Vikings. Another Cook show. I mean, Lions get. I mean, it seems like the Vikings have the winning formula. Just ride Cook, and if for some reason he doesn't produce a lot, then oh well, you're gonna lose. But if he does, then it gives you a good chance to win. Now, again, in my opinion, I feel like the Vikings had a good opportunity to try to tank a purpose to get a good draft pick, but it looks like they're gonna play to try to get back in the wild card picture somehow, which means they would have to basically win the rest of their games, maybe lose one more. So I don't see that happening, but they're at least looks like they're gonna stay competing. Giants versus Washington. 5. Washington had 5 turnovers to Giants 0. Think about it. 5 turnovers Giants had, and that's with Daniel Jones at quarterback, who's a turnover machine. If he has none and you have 5, what does that say? It means you're going to lose. Washington was lucky enough for this to be a close game as it is. Now, I feel bad for Kyle Allen. Hopefully he recovers well from injury and stuff. Alex Smith. It was interesting to see him get some action, but Alex Smith's just definitely not the same. His problem is whenever he feels the pressure, that's what he rushes it and throws it away, and like 2 times in a row on his last 2 drives, he got pressure, so he just threw it bad and it became interceptions. So now with Washington, they're obviously not going back to Dwayne Haskins, and then Allen's out for looks like the year, so that means Washington will not make the playoffs this year. If I'm Washington, just start tanking right now. Just start tanking. Texans versus Jaguars. Battle for Fields. I'm not saying Texans take Fields, obviously, if they lost this game. But Jacksonville needs that second pick to give Fields. So this was a must-loss, and they came close to screwing themselves over. But at least there was a lot of stuff for Jaguars to be happy about if I were them to like kind of take on to the future. 'Cause their offense, for the most part, has been playing pretty well. So their defense has issues. So, you get Fields in the draft, and then for the rest of your picks, you can try to get a lot of defensive players to help that up. Raiders versus Chargers. Another one bites the Chargers. Another one bites the dust. Another one gone. Another one. It was the right call in the end to reverse the touchdown. But man, Chargers can't catch a break. I expect 4 or 5 head coaches to get fired by the end of the season, and I expect Anthony Lynn to be one of them. Dolphins versus Cardinals. We may got something here. Tua did way better this game than in his debut game. I will admit Arizona's defense is not that good. Like, they're gonna make a lot of quarterbacks look good, except for Andy Dalton, apparently. But they make a lot of quarterbacks look good. But I still do want to see how Tua plays the rest of the season. Is this a sign of, okay, he progressed from game 1 to game 2, obviously. So is he going to continue that progression, or it's just going to be, okay, yeah, he has his moments, but it's just going to be about inconsistency, like we see with some other young quarterbacks. So that's going to be interesting to see. But Buffalo is very lucky that they won yesterday against Seattle because Miami is coming for them. Steelers versus Cowboys. Not Super Bowl favorites. Despite the Steelers being the only undefeated team, it seems like, and with almost everything working for them, you wonder why we think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl, the Bucks are going to win the Super Bowl, or whoever you name, Ravens. It's because of games like this. Now, the Steelers are definitely Super Bowl contenders, but as far as the favorite, or on my top 2 or 3 list of favorites, I'm not going to have them there. They remind me of the Packers of last year, and it looks like they might actually have a better record than those Packers of last year. It's like they look good in the regular season, and at some point in the playoffs, smack. Now, I don't think that they're going to ever get blown out because they're just that good, but there's going to be a game in the playoffs where you kind of scratch your head saying, they laid an egg there, and I'm not going to be surprised when that happens. Saints versus Bucks. A breezy win. Now, Drew Brees played phenomenal, except for that third quarter fumble, which was bad. But, I mean, again, the game was out of hand anyways. So, but anyways, Thomas was back, and that definitely helped. Emmanuel Sanders was back. That helped. Taysom Hill's going off. When that happens, you're screwed. Brady threw 3 interceptions, and the list goes on and on. Now, the most surprising thing is the secondary for the Saints played really well, because that's been their Achilles heel. So with everyone healthy now, and they have talent at a lot of positions, if that secondary can just play well like they did against the Bucks, then they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to win it because they're not going to be able to contain the Chiefs' weapons. But I mean, that's what it looks like. So for a lot of people who are not buying New Orleans and stuff like that for a while, now it looks like you got to buy them. Because now they're going to win a division, in my opinion, because their schedule's so easy. I don't feel like they're going to give up that lead against the Bucks. Now, if you're the Bucks, though, your offensive line needs improvement because against great D lines like New Orleans twice and Chicago once, you've lost. What's that say? It says in the playoffs, if you go against a physical defense, that's going to cost you from going to the Super Bowl. The defense for Tampa Bay, though, gets a pass in this game because they usually play well, but Saints' offense is just good, and the Tampa Bay offense put this Tampa Bay defense in much bad positions. And they recovered 2 fumbles, so it's not like they were horrible by any means. Okay, so now I want to go over my top 10 NFL teams after this weekend because tonight's game is not going to have any impact on it, so I can go ahead and make it earlier. Number 1, I got Pittsburgh at 8-0. This is their soft number 1 because they're undefeated. And as long as I said undefeated, I'm going to keep them there because they deserve it since it's hard to go undefeated in the NFL. They're the only team to do it right now. 2, I got Kansas City. They're the only one-loss team now with a bunch of other one-loss teams losing. They're had a scare against Carolina, but I feel like as soon as Pittsburgh loses at some point, Kansas City still remains one loss. I'm going to jump to number 1 because I feel like they are the Super Bowl favorite in my opinion. 3rd, I got Baltimore because their 2 losses are against teams number 1 and teams number 2. So, I mean, you can talk about the way they lost them, but it's hard to flag them for that. 4, I got New Orleans. They made a big rise because they just keep on winning, and that after that win yesterday, they show, like I said, that they could be Super Bowl contenders. 5, I got Tennessee. That was pretty, but at least they got the W, and it looks like they're kind of back on track to start like winning games and having success after their slip up against Cincinnati the previous week. 6, they got Buffalo. They make it back onto the list here because Buffalo, I mean, when you beat Seattle like that, so dominantly, impressively, you got to be on the top 10 list. And then 7, I got Seattle. Again, there was a whole bunch of different factors that didn't, like playing a new game, traveling like that, didn't go well for Seattle. So you can kind of think of it as I mean, it was a surprise loss, but not a shocker loss per se. And Seattle, I think, is still really good with Russell Wilson. 8, you got Tampa Bay. I know that loss was horrible, but in my opinion, they're still a top 10 team because whether it gets a mediocre defensive line or a bad defensive line, then they're going to be good. 9, I got Green Bay. They showed you Thursday what they're capable of, albeit against bad 49ers team right now, but still, they show what they're capable of there. And then 10, this was hard to pick because there's so many different 3-loss teams you can choose from. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Miami just because they're won 4 games in a row with 2 of their 2-0. Their defense is making plays, and I just like the direction that Miami's headed right now. Okay, so now the top 10 or top 25 college football rankings came out, and I want to go over the top 10 real quick. So this is what the AP had. So number 1 was Alabama, 2 Notre Dame, 3 Ohio State, 4 Clemson, 5 Texas A&M, 6 Florida, 7 Cincinnati, 8 BYU, 9 Miami, and 10 Indiana. So here's how I would do it. So 1 Alabama now because Clemson lost. I would put Ohio State, even though they play less amount of games, I would put them second. Because I like and then Notre Dame third, just because Notre Dame again that was a big win against Clemson, but it was against their backup quarterback and like 3 or 4 defensive starters out. and just looking at their resume, it's still not that good. I mean, only being Notre Dame. Louisville 12-7 is still going to sting there. So versus Ohio State, where they've taken care of everyone literally. So I would have Ohio State 2, and then Notre Dame 3 and out, and then Clemson 4, just because one loss was against a top 3 team, and it was a close loss versus like an A&M loss where they lost to the best team, which is respectable, but it was by a lot. So Clemson 4, and the A&M 5, Florida 6, because obviously A&M Florida has a head-to matchup against Florida, and then I would have 7 BYU, 8 Cincinnati, so I'd flip those 2. And then I have 9 Indiana, because I like what I'm seeing for them, move them up 1 spot, and then 10 would be Miami, so kind of flip them. So basically, I have the same top 10 as AP, just kind of flip a few things around. So again, my top 10 is 1 Alabama, 2 Ohio State, 3 Notre Dame, 4 Clemson, 5 A&M, 6 Florida, 7 BYU, 8 Cincinnati, 9 Indiana, and 10 Miami. So thank you very much for watching my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, tell everyone about me. I'm going to go over my updated NFL projections, and I'll reveal it to you later this week. So thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day.